So this trick tip is for fingerboard246 for kickflips, and overall your flip is pretty good. The good thing is that the board hits the ground before you hit the ground, which is really good. You just need to work on just staying centered and not pushing the board away from you when you flick the board. So for clips 1 and 2, I noticed that once you start the kickflip, you jump back. You don't want to do that. You want to jump vertically up, so you land back on the board. And that's really all I could say about those clips. Clip number 3 was probably your closest one. Just one thing is you didn't really level out your board. When you did the kickflip, it kind of went like this. But for kickflips, you need to have them level because they're a lot easier to manage like this. And one way to try to get them level is, I noticed that your foot placement is like this. What I would try to do is just bring your front foot down halfway and then bring it towards the toe side edge of the board like this, and try kickflips like this. See, why I prefer to have this foot position is because when I start flicking, I will also be leveling out. Like, see how much time it takes for me to get from here to flick out? Well, as I'm dragging, I'm also going to be leveling out the board. If your foot is right here, you don't have that much time to level out your board. So that's why I prefer to have a lot of your front foot on your board. But I mean, this is just personal preference. Like, I would just try it just to see if it works. And another thing you should work on is once you flick the board, make sure you tuck your legs in and go over the board. See, the problem you have is once you flick the board, you come back in the same path, like that. And you do not want to do that because your board is going to be in the way. What you want to do is flick it and then come up and around like this. It's kind of like a circle where you just flick it and come back. And that's really all you need for the tuck. Just go like that. Make sure you go in that circle motion. So for clips 4, 5, and 6, the board hits the ground before you hit the ground, which is perfect. But the problem you have is once you flick the board goes in front of you. That could be because of two things. One could be because you're leaning backwards, causing the board to move forwards. And the other thing could be when you flick the board, you could also be pushing it as well and causing the board to go this direction. Like, here's an example of me pushing the board as I flick. So if you do push the board forward as you flick, the reason why that's happening is you're using too much of your foot to flick the board. See, like if I drag up like this and I flick right here, you notice that there's a lot of my foot still on the board once I flick the board, which will push the board forward. You just want to flick with a little bit of toe. You don't want to do too much like this. You want to just flick out just a little bit. And another thing you should try to do to experiment is if you're flicking like this, try flicking a little bit more horizontal than you normally do, like that. See if that helps you a little bit. It's just some ideas you should try. And another reason why the board can be moving forward towards the nose will be because once you start the kickflip, you lean back a little bit, like this. And to fix that, if you do have that issue, just remember, stay centered over the board. Your weight is between your feet and your shoulders are parallel with the board. And just make sure that your weight stays in this one area throughout the whole kickflip. So I think the best thing to do to practice right now, along with all the other stuff I said, is try those half kickflips. Like, just try to do the half kickflip and land, you know, somewhere on the bottom of the board. And don't land like this, just make sure that you land somewhere on the board. Doesn't matter where, as long as your feet are touching it. This is just to train you to make sure that your board stays below you throughout the whole kickflip. And then once you can do that a few times, just do the full kickflip and you should be able to land it. So overall, just remember to jump vertically up. Maybe try having your foot placement like this. See if that works for you. If it doesn't, just go back to your normal foot positioning. But, you know, try this out a few times, you know, just to see if it helps you level out the board. And make sure that when you flick the board, you tuck your legs in once you flick. Just remember to do that like circle motion with your front foot, like this. And just remember that you are centered and that all of your weight is over the whole board throughout the whole trick. And also try that half flip practice idea, like that, land somewhere on the board, just to train you to stay over the board the whole time. So if you still have problems, don't be afraid to message me and I'll try to help you as best as I can. And as for now, good luck.